I like to, perform. I like that energy. I like the adrenaline. I like talking. Like, this is really fun for me. But at the end of the day, I really just want to like be alone and read or watch a show and be by myself and be in my own head.
Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. I have a fantastic guest that you're probably, I don't want to set the expectations too high, but it's kind of like her thing. She kind of gets paid to do it. You're probably going to laugh at least one time on this episode because I have the hilarious and talented Jenna Kim Jones of the Couple Friends podcast. I almost just said the Couples podcast. But beyond, go ahead.
Oh no, hi everybody. I'm so glad to be here.
The introductions always can be a little awkward because I'm like, okay, yes, welcome to the show.
That's just life, okay? If it wasn't a little bit awkward, we wouldn't be who we are.
It's true. And it makes it relatable, right? Like, this is
exactly
that awkward making a new friend on the street. We're like, no, oh, yeah, okay, hi, yeah.
Right. And please like me. I'm sorry. I don't, yes.
I promise I'm not always like this. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Oh, anyway, I'm really excited to have you here, and I can't wait to share your story with my listeners. And I know they're going to love you because just in the little bit of time I've spent looking through your content and listening to a little bit of your podcast, I love it. So why don't you start by giving everybody, I like to kind of give the perspective since this is a mom's podcast, how many kids you have, stage of motherhood you're in, all that good stuff.
Ooh, okay. So I have 2 children. I have 2 daughters, Samantha and Dylan, and they are 4 and 2. And they are, they're amazing. They are so full of life and so full of energy. And I can't keep up, to say the least.
Yeah,
I have recently, I know, I feel like I have recently discovered my inner, like, angry mom voice. Like, when they're little babies, you don't really have that. And then I feel like you have little babies and you do a lot of the sweet whatever, and you get frustrated, but you don't really like get mad. Mm-hmm. And I recently heard myself say out loud in like my mean mom voice, like, hey, today we are going to have a lot of fun. So everybody just buckle up.
And if you're not on board, sit down. You're not coming.
Exactly. And I realized, like, oh, I'm in that phase right now where I yell about how much fun we're supposed to be having. Like, I had flashbacks of my own parents and their frustration, and I just went like, oh, this is it.
I've arrived.
Okay. We have arrived. Exactly. So yes, I feel like I'm very much in it. And I don't know. We're at this phase where we're not sure we're done having children. I actually was pregnant earlier this year and had a miscarriage, which was really weird and difficult and shocking because I had 2 really easy, healthy, well, not easy. I don't think pregnancy is easy, but just, healthy. Yeah. I had never really come to this idea of like, oh, that could happen to me. So when it did, that was a big surprise. So I don't really know if we're done having children or if we're going to have more kids, but we are like really trying to purposefully enjoy this phase we're in.
I love it.
Because they are growing up so fast.
Yep. It's so crazy too, the phase that you're in right now. I talk like I have so much wisdom. Like I'm only a few years ahead of you. But my youngest is older than your oldest, so I have a little bit of experience here.
Yes, you do.
But I remember having them at those ages and literally feeling like that stage of life was never going to end. And all at the same time, feeling like it was moving at lightning speed. And now my oldest just turned 10 and I'm like, what? Like, how did that happen?
Oh,
it's crazy.
That's crazy.
But don't you kind of feel like, oh, I'm going to be a toddler mom forever. Like you might never leave my side. This might be it. You kind of get stuck.
Yes. Oh my goodness. There are days where I'm like, okay, it's 2:05. Now it's 2:10. Now it's 2:12. Oh no, time's getting slower and slower. And I think there's nothing left for us to do today. We've done everything. And
start over.
Those are the moments where I Those are the moments where you're the most
Yep.
scared of
There was
all.
literally one
Yes.
time when I told my husband, completely, honestly alarmed because I was like, Ben, I think time just stood still for a whole 5 minutes because I swear I checked the clock and it said 3:05 and I just did some things and came back and it still says 3:05. I was truly puzzled about how this had happened. I don't understand it. So I really do think sometimes
No,
time
I
stands
know.
still and I'm like, why can't you stand still when things are fun? Why do you have to breeze on
Right.
through when we're having a good day? Uh,
Honestly, I know. You wish you could reverse it because boy, the days are long and you're right. The time all like my daughter just turned 4 like a week and a half ago.
oh,
And I can't like it's blowing my
yeah.
mind that she's
I know.
4. How did that I mean, where
It's
yeah,
crazy. The days are
it's
long and
freaky.
the years are short, right? That's what they always said.
Yep.
Now we
Yep.
understand it.
And now I finally believe
Yeah,
them.
I
Exactly.
know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your background because you have this amazing background in comedy, and I wanna hear a little bit about that and your story and when that began and how that also now works into motherhood. So wherever you wanna pick up
Oh my
that
goodness.
story, I just wanna hear the backstory.
Well, a long, long time ago, I let's see. So I moved to New York City when I was 18 to go to college.
Mhm.
And I went to school, graduated. I majored in television. So I ended up working in TV at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Awesome.
You know, he's not the host anymore,
Yeah.
but that I feel like I'm old school because all the TV hosts that I worked for in college no longer host television shows. So I'm like, this is this is terrible. Anyway, so I
Oh, I can
this
feel
means
your
I'm getting
pain.
older.
I
And
feel your pain on a totally different level. I'm just like,
oh,
I'm this like entrepreneur right now, and I kind of don't have a business. And I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, am I even
right.
relevant? Do I know?
Oh, but the age old question, am I relevant?
Oh,
That I ask myself that question regularly. So I hear you loud and clear. Oh my goodness. So I got a job at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart out of school. I had done an internship there before I graduated. So they had known me. When I graduated, they needed like an assistant for filling in, and I filled in for a while. And then I ended up getting hired on full time and loved it. Fabulous time there. And that's where I got introduced to stand up comedy
hmm,
because I had always loved comedy. I was like very interested in it as a kid. I wouldn't say I was like the funny person, like I wasn't like the class clown or anything,
hmm,
but I always was attracted to it. Like I loved comedy and my favorite movies were always comedy. I loved comedians. But stand up comedy had never really been on my radar as a young
yeah,
person. So when I graduated from school and I was working, I started to see a lot of people do stand up because a lot of people at the Daily Show did stand up on the side just for
yeah,
fun because they
right.
loved it. So I started going to their shows and watching them and feeling this like pull to like try it, even though I thought like that's really crazy. Like, why would I do that? I I know how to perform. Like I had grown up singing and performing and things
Hmm.
like that, but I had never been that vulnerable on stage before. And I would watch them and go like, but I think I should try it. So I asked my boss about it and he was like, if you want to try it, you just do it. You just get up there and you
Yeah.
go do it. So actually one of my very first sets was on my boss. He was doing stand up. Rory Albanese, he's a hilarious guy. He did stand up for a show at a club and he's like, get up there and do five
Oh,
minutes.
that sounds like a
And to this
nightmare.
day, oh my goodness. To this day, I don't know what I said. Like, I've tried to go back and remember, and it's like a complete
Did people
blackout
laugh though? I need
experience.
to
Like,
know if people laugh.
I don't know. Like, I think I got like a couple of like pity chuckles. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this poor girl. I probably looked like I was about to faint the whole time.
Maybe
So
you did. You said you blacked out. I mean,
I know that's the thing. I don't know. And maybe it was hilarious. So I so I went home that night and I like just sat there and was like, I think I have to do it
mhm.
again, which is
Yep.
crazy. Like, again, I thought, like, what is wrong with me? So I started doing just like tons of open mics, and I was terrible at first. I was like awful, and I would have anxiety, and I'd freak out, and I would do it, and I wouldn't get laughs. And it took me months of practicing and rewriting and writing and getting confidence in myself and finding my own voice. And then it started to happen where I would get like a laugh there or a laugh there. And I go like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm excited
Yeah.
about this. And then I just started doing stand up more and more. And after a few years, I met my husband and we kind of just decided we wanted to start fresh. He was living in Chicago. I was in New York. So I quit my job and went full time as a comedian and I
Wow.
haven't looked back.
Oh
So
my
it's been
gosh.
crazy. Yeah. So I have loved it, but it has been a weird road and I've definitely done it a little bit more
Non-traditional,
yes, thank you. That is what I was trying to say.
unconventional.
Yes. Yes, totally. I'm not necessarily a road comic. I'm not on the road every weekend. I can't bear to leave my children.
Mhm.
So I do shows here and there, and I've gotten my comedy out there on streaming. It's on SiriusXM. It's on lots of different ways you can listen to me. And then of course, that naturally led me into podcasting because I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to produce something that was constant and realizing that there will be moments of my life, like right when you have a baby, where you can't go anywhere. And
Mhm.
actually, right before you have a baby, too. So I
Yep.
remember when I had my first, I traveled like right up until the doctor was like, "Don't you dare get on an airplane." Like I was really pushing the limits.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
realized, okay, this lifestyle is not totally conducive to what I'm in right in this moment.
Yeah.
So I still do stand up. I'm still working on a new special. I released a new special last year as well. And I'm releasing another one in the spring. So I'm busy working on that and getting shows booked and getting ready to get back out there. And then I have this podcast and we love it. We are a daily show. It's Monday through Friday, and we just like keep it light and fun, and we talk about really silly stuff.
I love it.
And one of the things that I'm really proud of about our show is that oh my goodness, my voice just completely broke.
You're going through
Um,
puberty. It's fine.
oh my goodness, it cracked. It was crazy. One of the things I'm most proud of is that we have a show that's for adults but anybody can listen to it. And like, if you're a mom and you're in the car and you're like, if I have to listen to Let It Go one more time and you're going to bang your head against the wall, you can turn on our podcast
Yeah.
and your kids can hear it and they're not going to hear anything scary, but you will be entertained.
Yes. Girl, you just spoke the whole, like, reason that I love being a podcaster. Like, that's and I had a
Right?
conversation today. I was at a, like, mom group, and all these women who didn't even know I had this podcast. Shout out to my girls if you're listening, because now you're listening. But, they were like
Yeah.
they were saying how much of, like, podcast junkies some of them are because she's like, "You can't read a blog post and you can't watch a YouTube video while you're driving, washing dishes, doing laundry, and all the things." And I'm like, "Exactly. That's why I went this route with this platform, because I can talk to you guys. I'm in the ears of all these women, and you feel the same way, like, while they're living their life, and it's something just for you. It's like a little slice of my
Exactly.
kids listen to my audiobooks and my podcasts all the time. And if they're not in the mood, it's fine. Like, you're going to have to get over it because I've listened to your stuff
Right. Deal with
plenty.
it.
Yes.
Oh,
So I love that. I
I
think
know.
it's
How many
great.
times have you watched Moana? It's
Oh,
like I can't do it
I
anymore.
know. Like, just go into the ocean, like out into the yawn. What is the whatever the song is?
Just get out there
I
already.
know. Oh, I do love Moana though. It just every time I watch it, I want to go to
I do
Hawaii,
too.
and I'm like, this is a cycle. Y'all can't watch
Oh, I
this because
know.
then we have to get plane
I
tickets,
know.
and I have to be on the beach. Uh,
I always cry too, and I try to be tough. Like whenever I've watched this a million times, and then her grandma comes back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, girl power, it's so fabulous. So it's like I talk a tough game, but
yeah, exactly. But our whole point is audio is king, and podcasting is a huge thing. Like, it's on the rise, and it's such a great
mhm,
way. I just learned the other day that 32% of Americans are podcast listeners. Now that to me, like, kind of blew my
that's
mind,
amazing.
right? Yes. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
in the right space with our voices and our
we
messages.
found our
We
people.
did. Yep.
Exactly.
Well, I love it. And a daily show, like, props to you for that, because that I've done that before. Marvelous Moms used to be 5 days a week, and it's no small
Oh wow.
undertaking. So my hat's off.
Well, it is. Thank you. My husband does it with me. We call it couple friends because we like to think we're the couple friends that you didn't know you needed in your life. And we we're like those really great friends that you can have in your life, but you actually like never have to really invite us over, and you never have to clean your house, and you don't have to like tell us to go home. You can just like tell,
Yeah.
so and we'll never ask you for like weird favors or anything. Like we are just the best friends you could have.
Which probably explains why you have a couple million downloads to your name, right? Because people clearly need some friends without
Yes.
it being a two-way commitment. I don't know what that says about people, but
Well, I'm just saying, we live in a world where we're all kind of scared of, human interaction. So why not
right.
just listen to us, and then you can shut us down when you
There you
want.
go.
It is. So anyway, it is really fun to podcast, but our show is short. I will say, I always like to let people know, like, we're just quick. It's like 15 minutes of fun
Yeah.
in between whatever murder podcasts you're
Oh my
listening
god.
to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's just
Okay. So I started podcasting 4 years ago before they had murder podcasts. Like that wasn't a thing.
yes.
And now I'm like, it's like I've been living in my own little bubble and I didn't know that world existed. And people are like, oh, I love podcasts. I'm like, oh, which one do you listen to? And I name off all these like businessy ones and inspiring ones. They're like, no, like
Uh-huh.
true crime and who murdered who. I'm like, that's dark, dude. Like that's for TV.
Right? Right? I know. I don't know how people do it. It's like, I feel the same way because I have all these friends, same thing. I'm like, whoa, how can you get
Why?
through your day? That's a lot of stuff to
I
handle.
know, I know. And I'm speaking like my mom, that's probably the podcast she'd listen to more than she even listened to this one. And back when I did seriously, back when I did 5 a week, I lost my mom. Like she doesn't listen to my podcast anymore because she got so overwhelmed that she couldn't keep up with it. So
Oh, that's
it's like it has
hilarious.
to be a special episode for her to actually tune in. But she would be the one to listen to those crime ones because she's already determined. Like
Hmm.
my dad's a little nervous because I think he's pretty convinced she's already got his murder planned, like how she would get away with it.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
you have the people who are
Yeah.
like, well, I know why they didn't get away with it. They needed to do this, 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 and this. I'm like, what are we doing as a society? There's my list.
Right?
That we are creating like expert killers. Anyway, it's kind of
Oh,
scary.
oh, I know. I know. They
Oh,
can't get away with it. Not with DNA
nope.
anymore.
That's right, folks.
That's right.
We've got ways of combating your crazy. Oh,
That's right.
okay. Well, I love your story and how unconventional it is that you became a comedian. And I'm kind of like a little bit crawling out of my skin because my mom has always told me like you missed your calling, and if anything else that you're not doing doesn't work out, you should just be a comedian. But the idea of formally making it a thing is what makes me want to die. Like anytime how did you do that? How
Hmm.
did you cross into like, because I kind of have always been the class clown and I make people laugh all the time, but the thought of turning it into like I actually have to plan this out. I'm not very good with planning. I just like to do things. So how was
Right.
that hard? Like, did it take a long time to turn it into, and I just can't believe, I know you blacked out the first time essentially, but was it a lot less complicated than it might sound to somebody like me to go into that space?
Yes and no. You have to have the drive for it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who've said like, "Oh, I've done stand up," and then you talk to them about it and they say, "Well, I went up a few times and I tried it and then I kind of stopped." And it's like, "Yes, you tried stand up, but the reality is it is a grind.
Hmm.
And when you first start, it just takes it's like working out.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of time and practice. And the other thing I think a lot of people fail to realize is stand-up comedians are very, for the most part, some comedians get up and wing it and just kind of feel it and go for it.
Yeah.
But most of us spend a lot of time writing
Mm,
before we even get on
yeah.
stage. And words and the order of words and the importance of words are so important in stand-up comedy. I mean, you can tell a joke and it's okay, and then you can tell it again and all you've done is like flipped two words, around,
Yeah.
and it's way funnier. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
to figure that all out takes a lot of work. I mean,
It's
it really does.
strategy. Yeah.
It is big time. And I love it for that reason, and that's sort of what attracted me to it. That, and I also like the idea that I'm in like full control of what's happening. Like
Yeah.
I get to go on stage, and whether or not it's a good show, I am in control of the situation. I
Hmm.
get to I'm performing my own material. I get to be in charge of it. And I do enjoy that a lot. Like, it's funny because a lot of people are like, "Oh, do you do improv?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I, no. What I do is I write my jokes and then I tell them." So,
Yeah.
but the funny thing is once you do a lot of performing, you can go off script, and that's the beautiful thing about stand up is you can write a set, you have it all planned out, and you can tell jokes, and then if you want, you interact with the audience, something funny happens, you can do all of that fun stuff, and then you know exactly where to go back to.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really fun about it is like if you're having a great show, you're telling jokes, then you kind of go off script for a minute and then you go, "Oh, where was I?" And then you can launch right back in. And I love that structure and that control of it. And that feels
Yeah.
really good to me when I perform.
Yeah, I think that sounds a lot less daunting. I think it is. Like, I remember in college, improv was a new-ish thing. I mean, Whose Line Is It Anyway had been out, but it was like a thing where they were starting comedy troupes and people were doing improv more
Mm-hmm.
frequently live like that. And I just, my friends, some of my friends that I've known for years are the ones who started it in Southern Utah. And I was like, they had workshops, and just the thought of even going to a workshop, I guess I don't know, this fear of like, "Oh my gosh,
Right?
what if I'm
I
not?"
know.
But I'd probably be really good at it because I'm really, really quick on my feet. And most of the things that make me funny, I don't plan. So maybe I'd
Right.
actually be a better improv comic
You
than I
might
would
be
stand
an
up.
improv person. Exactly. It's
Maybe.
very different personality types too. It's
Yeah.
like most stand-ups are introverts and they like
Mm,
alone time. They like the idea of doing stand-up because they are just them.
yeah.
Whereas improv artists and they like the collaboration, they like the energy of other people. That fulfills them and drives them. So it is a very different beast, but both are amazing, and I'm always like super impressed when I see friends of mine doing improv. I'm like, get it, that is amazing. I'm a big wuss. I just want to stand up there by myself.
That's so funny. I feel like the other people to me, so yeah, I guess I'm very opposite. It would be like a crutch. Like, well, if I can't come up with something, at least I got some people. But you have a
You got
script,
backup.
right? Like you're
Right,
planned, you're
right.
prepared. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, my husband would be probably a stand-up comic and I would be improv because he's very
There you
structured.
go. Mm-hmm.
But
There you go.
yeah.
Exactly.
Are would you consider yourself an introvert then? You said most stand-up comics are, or would you consider yourself more extroverted?
I think I call myself an overly social introvert.
Interesting. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm
So,
a little bit the same. I burn out, but
yes,
it takes a while.
yes. Right. So I like to, perform. I like that energy. I like the adrenaline. I like talking. Like this is really fun for me. But at the end of the day, I really just want to like be alone and read or watch a show and be by myself and be in my own head. And that's how I've always been. So
Yeah.
yeah, my husband coined that phrase for me. He's like, "You're an overly social introvert." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
I
I'll
like
take
that.
it. That sounds about right."
I'll own that title. I can make that work.
There you go.
We're in this day of everybody wanting to categorize and come up with personality types. So, you can make up your own. There's no rules about this.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a professional. Come on, I put it on the internet. It's fact.
Exactly. There's now SEO. Like people could Google it and it's a thing
Yeah,
because it's on your blog.
that's right.
Oh, that's awesome. I love so how has it been now? Do you incorporate like your kids and your mom life into your show?
Oh yes,
What are
yes.
some I
I
want to hear
can't
some of the
help but
best.
do
I
that.
want to hear you don't have to give us the
Oh,
whole enchilada, but and that's probably putting you on the spot, but what are kind of like the key moments of motherhood that you find to be the best at creating content from?
the more chaotic, the better, for sure. I have a whole thing in my latest special where I'm embarrassed to say I did write some poop jokes because I had to. I excuse me. I had to document the first time my daughter had like a major blowout. And so I wrote a whole bit just about that and the chaos and how scared my husband and I were and how dramatic it was. And I always tell people, well, my last special was called Thirsty for Pizza because, you hang out, you hang out with kids a lot and kids are so sensitive to the world around them.
Yeah.
Like, I think we actually kind of downplay, like, oh, they don't know what we're talking about. And I think a lot of times kids really do.
Mm-hmm.
They catch on to things really quick. They understand like feelings and whatever it is. And after I had my second daughter, I was like trying to diet and like trying to eat better and whatever. You know how we all women
Yeah.
are after babies, like, oh, pre-pregnancy pants, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to get it together. And, and my sweet daughter, we're in the car. I must have been in a mood. And she looked at me in the most sincere face and she looked and she said, Mom, are you thirsty for pizza? Yes, yes, I am, sweetheart. I would absolutely drink a pizza right now. Like that, I was at just, and I just realized, like, boy, she really is picking up on me and
Yeah.
my life and what's happening and my feelings. And it just made me laugh so much. So it's moments like that where these kids, they basically just hand me gold.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is amazing.
It's so true. So, so true. That's why it like converts the best on social media when you post really funny things that your kids say or just quotes parenting. Do you follow, maybe I won't even include this, but do you follow the Johnson Files on Instagram?
Yes, I do know them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he
Uh-huh.
just went viral because he was imitating the bedtime routine from a kid. Like
Which
what,
is so real. I
right?
know. I saw it and it was so real and so like, oh my gosh. I just needed to get, I know.
It's the
Ugh.
best. You really do have and that's why I asked. You probably have prime content there in front of you all the time. Like our kids do so many things that I've always wondered, like, what if we did a whole video series just acting like our kids? And I know people do these kinds of things. Obviously, Sean did that on the
Oh
video,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like if we behaved as grown-ups the way kids behave, like if you're in line for something, you're like, I don't want to wait in this line. Like, why is there a line right now? I am
Oh,
the center of the
I know.
universe. Move aside. It would just be so funny if we just behaved with the same crazy simplicity that they have. Like, I don't get it. I shouldn't be
I
waiting.
know. My husband, he wants me to make a video of me trying to swaddle him
Oh, you definitely need to do that.
because he was like jealous of our daughters. Like he's like, that looks like the most comfortable way to sleep ever.
Oh,
And I'm like,
right?
because he
Oh, so
we did
true.
that we I know. He is so funny. We watched this like 5 S's of sleep before we had our first daughter or whatever it was. It was like this doctor had come up with these 5 things that all babies like, or they like certain combinations of these 5 things to get them to be the perfect sleeper. And my husband, we're like watching this video and my husband's like, I have that one. I have that one. I, I have all of these. I think if you just like swaddled me and gently shushed in my ear and rocked me, I would totally fall asleep in 2 seconds. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not for you.
I kind of have to agree with
Anyway,
him though. I remember seeing my babies
right?
like sitting in the baby swing all swaddled up and just being like, "Oh, I'd give anything for your life right now. Like I just want to be
Right?
I want to be cozy."
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I think your story is fascinating, and I think everybody needs to go and find every piece of content they can from you to laugh with you. And I love that you're kind of proving too that you can do this. Like you can be a mom with young children and still follow a dream you didn't even know you had till you hit adulthood, right? Like that's usually when
Yes.
we kind of discover what we want to be when we grow up. And I think it's so cool that you are doing something. I'm sure when you're in the world of comedy, it feels like everybody's a comedian, but for me, like I'm not friends with a lot of comedians. And I think it's pretty cool that you're
Mm.
doing something that's actually quite unique in this big world full of so many diverse people. So good for you for following that, that path and making something cool out of it.
Thank you so much. That is just, I'm like, thank you. That means a lot, and I appreciate that. It is I think as a mom, we constantly uh, second guess our decisions,
Oh yeah.
and and I'm constantly like, am I doing enough for them? Am I doing enough for my career? And it's this balance of of how to do it and what has to fall away and what things you must do. And I'm constantly in a battle. I mean, I think most women are, and I think we're lying to ourselves if we say we aren't
Right. Yep.
when we're trying to figure out our purpose. And and what that means.
Yeah,
So,
you're absolutely right.
mhm,
It's a really tricky little balancing act, isn't it? And I feel like at times in my
it
life,
is.
I've been like, I could totally help people with this. And other times I'm like, I don't even know what day it is and how many days ago I showered. And I'm the worst at
Right.
everything. It's
Right. Oh, I
Oh,
know.
but it's the struggle worth struggling through, in my opinion. And it's kind of what makes us marvelous moms. It's what makes us capable of wearing so many different hats. And I think it's important to not lose yourself in just that one role. And I think even though it's a hard
Yes.
balancing act to pursue the things that you're meant to do and be in this world on top of raising tiny humans, it's kind of what makes us the best for our kids. So,
Oh,
you know.
I think so too, and I think yeah, I appreciate what you're saying and what you're doing. I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I ask everybody this question at the end of the episodes, which I can't believe we've been talking for 30 minutes already. I can't wrap my mind around that. It feels like 10.
That flew by. I know. That was crazy.
That's when you know it's a good one. That's when you know it's a good interview and a great guest. So thank you for that. Um, but my final question is, what makes you a marvelous mom?
Oh. Oh, I have to talk about myself
I
like that?
know, I know.
Oh, I know. I will say that I think, well, one thing I think I know this is so hard for me, but okay, I'm going to woman up. I'm going to answer this question. Here we go. Uh, I think I'm a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think I provide lots of structure and I am pretty strict and like we have rules and we have routines and I still make my girls go to bed super early and we get up early, but I would say that I hope and I think that I am a lot of fun with my girls and we try really hard to laugh a lot during the day.
Yeah.
So that's something that I hope that they take from our life together and our crazy house.
Oh, I guarantee they will. Like, their mom's a comedian. So you absolutely nailed that answer. Like, if you're not laughing with your kids, you might have a little bit of something wrong going on, right?
Yeah, right? You gotta laugh, man. It's crazy town.
Yeah, it's true. I have the most fun as a mom when we're laughing together. And I've had conversations with
Mhm.
a lot of people about how I'm not really the mom. I'm just like an older version of being the kid. And I just have to keep us alive. But for the most part, I'm just one of them. They're my people. Like we're interested in the same
Mhm.
things.
Yes, and it's so much more fun if you can get them to giggle and feel good about themselves
Yeah,
because they need that. They need the release. Life is hard and they have to have hard moments. But if they can like learn to laugh and overcome those little moments and smile about it, then they're hopefully gonna have some good tools when they get older to coping and
true.
getting through things.
All
And
true.
I don't know. It's it's
It is
crazy.
one big crazy
Parenting is
roller
crazy.
coaster, and we're on the front row, and it's just the best pictures ever after the ride, right? We're just here for the picture. We're here
Yes,
for the great
yes, it
photo at the
is.
end.
That's right.
Oh, well, I love you, and I'm
That's
so
right.
grateful that you've been on here and shared your happy energy, and it's just been so much fun to chat with you. So where can everybody go follow you if they want more Jenna?
Sure. Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been honestly, you're right. I can't believe how fast this went. Um, I am on Instagram and Twitter at Jenna Kim Jones. And my podcast, you can find all the information about it, where you can download it, all that stuff at couplefriendspodcast.com. So just check that out. You'll see me and my husband and learn a little bit about who we are and how we met. And then just check out the podcast. I think you'll really like it. Every day is different. We have lots of different topics that we choose for each day. Anyway, we love it. So check it out. Jenna Kim Jones, couplefriendspodcast.com.
Awesome. I can't wait to well, I am subscribed, but I can't wait for everybody else to subscribe because like another fun stat for you is people who listen to podcasts listen to at least 6 or 7. So,
I know we gotta, that's right. We're all growing together here.
right. All right. Well, thank you so much again for being on here. And to everybody else listening, have a marvelous day. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to take action right now, you're feeling inspired and you're feeling enlightened, and you really want to own this role as a marvelous mom, go to the website marvelousmomsclub.com/me and create your own personal Marvelous Moms Manifesto. That is a tongue twister. marvelousmomsclub.com/me. You go fill in some great information, and in the end, you'll have a beautiful manifesto to display where only you can see or the whole family can see, where you can really, really own your role as a marvelous mom and step inside those goals and those ambitions and dreams that you have to become an even more marvelous mom to your beautiful family. So again, marvelousmomsclub.com/me. We will see you over there.